The door to Ethan Blackwood's office slammed shut behind me, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the empty executive suite of our New York high-rise. My heart pounded as I thrust the resignation letter onto his mahogany desk. The words blurring through unshed tears, I couldn't watch him marry her. Not after 3 years of silent devotion. But as I turned to flee, his hand shot out, gripping my wrist with a force that sent electric shocks through my veins. His ice blue eyes locking onto mine with a desperation I'd never seen in my cold, unyielding CEO boss. "Alex, you can't just walk out like this," Ethan growled, his voice a low rumble that masked the tremor beneath. The city lights twinkled mockingly outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting shadows that danced across his chiseled features. I yanked my arm, but he held firm, pulling me closer until our breaths mingled in the charged air. For years, I'd been Ethan Blackwood's shadow at Apex Innovations, the tech giant he'd built from a garage startup in Silicon Valley to a Wall Street powerhouse. Relocating to Manhattan had been his dream, and I'd followed without question, burying my feelings deeper with every late-night strategy session and shared coffee run. Ethan was the epitome of success, tall, broad-shouldered, with hair as dark as midnight and a presence that commanded boardrooms. But beneath that armored exterior was a man haunted by expectations his family's legacy demanding a perfect heir, complete with a society wife. Today was supposed to be his triumph. The engagement announcement to Victoria Hargrove, heiress to a media empire, splashed across every tabloid. I'd seen the photos, her in a designer gown, him in a tailored tux, smiling for the cameras at their lavish party last night. It gutted me. So here I was, on the 50th floor, handing in my notice on the very day the world celebrated his Futuria future without me. Why now? Ethan's question sliced through the silence, his grip loosening but not releasing. I met his gaze, the one that had always seen through my professional facade. "Because I can't pretend anymore," I whispered, my voice cracking. "Watching you build this life, it's killing me." He released me then, stepping back as if burned, raking a hand through his hair. The office smelled of his colonist sandalwood and ambition mixing with the faint scent of rain from the storm brewing outside. Papers fluttered on his desk, contracts, reports, and now my resignation. A single page that felt like a death sentence. Ethan paced to the window, his reflection ghostly against the glass. "Alex, you've been my right hand, my confidant. What the hell is this really about?" I swallowed hard, the words I'd rehearsed 1,000 times tumbling out. "It's about you, Ethan. Always has been. But you're engaged now. To her. And I can't be here for that." His shoulders tensed, and for a moment, I thought he'd dismiss me like any other employee. But when he turned, his eyes held a storm of emotions: confusion, anger, and something raw that mirrored my own pain. "You think I don't know?" he said softly, closing the distance again. "You think I haven't felt it too?" My breath hitched. Felt what? The late nights where our hands brushed over blueprints. The stolen glances during meetings. I'd convinced myself it was one-sided, that a man like Ethan straight-laced, heir to old money, could never reciprocate. But as he cupped my face, his thumb tracing my jaw, the world tilted. "Alex, I can't let you go. Not like this." The kiss came fierce and unexpected, his lips crashing against mine with years of pent-up longing. I froze, then melted into him, my hands fisting his shirt as thunder rumbled outside. It was wrong he was engaged. This was his office, but it felt like coming home. We broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed together. "What are we doing?" I murmured. "Something I should have done ages ago," he replied, his voice husky. But reality intruded. His phone buzzed incessantly, calls from the party planners, Victoria's family, the press. He silenced it, but the weight settled between us. "Tell me everything," he demanded, leading me to the leather couch. We sat, knees touching, as I poured out my soul, how I'd fallen for him during our first project in California, how I'd hidden my orientation to fit into his world, how his engagement announcement shattered me. Ethan listened, his expression softening. "My parents arranged this with the Hargroves. It's business, Alex. Mergers, alliances, love. That's never been part of it." "But you said yes," I accused, hurt flaring. "Because I thought it was my duty. Because I was afraid of what I really wanted." His hand found mine, intertwining fingers. "You." The confession hung heavy, laced with vulnerability. Ethan Blackwood, the unflappable CEO, was unraveling before me. We talked through the night, the storm raging outside mirroring our turmoil. He shared his own secrets, questioning his sexuality in college, suppressing it for the family name, the loneliness of his pedestal. As dawn crept in, painting the skyline pink, Ethan stood. "I won't marry her. Not when my heart's been yours all along." But it wasn't that simple. Victoria arrived unannounced, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. She burst in, elegant in her Chanel suit, eyes widening at our disheveled state. "Ethan, what's going on?" Her voice was sharp, but beneath it, understanding dawned. He faced her squarely. "Victoria, we need to talk. This engagement, it's over." She glanced between us, a sad smile forming. I suspected. "The way you look at him, it's how I wish someone looked at me." She hugged him briefly. "Be happy, Ethan. You deserve it." As she left, grace personified, relief washed over me. But Ethan's family wouldn't be so forgiving. His phone lit up with messages from his father, demanding explanations. "We'll face them together," I said, standing beside him. He pulled me close. Together. The office, once a prison of unspoken desires, now felt like a sanctuary. But challenges loomed: board meetings, public scrutiny, the fight for acceptance in a world still grappling with love like ours. Yet in that moment, as the sun rose, hope bloomed. Love, real and defiant, had won the first battle. The days following that fateful night blurred into a whirlwind of chaos and clandestine meetings. Ethan canceled the engagement publicly, citing personal reasons. But the media frenzy was relentless. Paparazzi camped outside Apex's headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, speculation running wild about the mystery man who'd upended the billionaire's life. I moved into a discreet apartment in Brooklyn to avoid the spotlight. But Ethan insisted on security details shadowing me. "I won't lose you to this madness," he'd say, his calls late at night filled with worry and affection. Our relationship deepened in stolen moments. Lunches in hidden cafes, walks along the Hudson under disguises, his hand warm in mine. Ethan opened up more, sharing childhood tales from his family's Hamptons estate pressures to excel, to conform. The subtle homophobia in elite circles. You're the first person who's seen me. Alex. Not the CEO. Not the heir, just me. His words mended wounds I didn't know I had. I'd grown up in a small Midwest town, coming out in college only to face rejection from my own family. Landing the job at Apex had been my escape. Ethan, my unintended anchor. But not everyone celebrated our truth. Ethan's father, Reginald Blackwood, a titan of industry, summoned him to the family penthouse on Park Avenue. I waited anxiously in a nearby hotel, pacing until Ethan returned, face etched with exhaustion. He threatened to cut me off. Ethan admitted, collapsing onto the bed. Said I'd disgraced the name. But I told him I am done living for legacy. I choose love. I held him through the night, our bodies entwining in a dance of comfort and passion. His touches were tender yet urgent, erasing doubts with every kiss. I love you, Alex, he whispered, the words a balm. Love. It terrified and thrilled me. As weeks turned to months, we navigated the fallout. The board at Apex called an emergency meeting. Whispers of instability threatening stock prices. Ethan stood firm in the glass-walled conference room, addressing the suits. My personal life is mine. But know this, Alex Thompson isn't just my partner's the reason we've innovated. Grown. Judge me on results, not rumors. Some nodded. Others scowled. But Ethan's charisma won the day. Shares dipped, then rebounded stronger, buoyed by progressive investors praising his authenticity. Yet personal battles raged. My estranged sister called out of the blue, her voice tentative. I saw the news. Alex. I'm sorry for before. If he's good to you, that's what matters. Tears streamed as I forgave. Bridges mending. Ethan encouraged it. His own reconciliation with Victoria turning her into an unlikely ally. She leaked positive stories to her media contacts, framing our romance as a modern fairy tale. But tension peaked at the annual Apex Gala in the Metropolitan Museum. Dressed in matching tuxes, we arrived hand in hand. Flashes blinding. Whispers followed, the CEO and his assistant. Scandalous. Ethan's speech that night was electric. Tonight, we celebrate innovation not just in tech, but in life. Love doesn't conform to boards or expectations. It disrupts, challenges, and ultimately, humanizes us. Applause thundered, but not before a heckler shouted slurs from the back. Security escorted him out, but the words stung. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table. They're the past. We're the future. Post-gala. In our suite overlooking Central Park. Emotions overflowed. I almost lost you, Ethan murmured, undressing me slowly. Our lovemaking was intense. An affirmation of survival. The next crisis hit harder. Reginald orchestrated a takeover bid, rallying conservative shareholders. Ethan worked tirelessly, rallying allies, while I dug through data, uncovering irregularities in the bid. We fight dirty if needed, I said, presenting evidence of insider trading. The confrontation unfolded in a tense boardroom. Ethan presented the proof, his father's face paling. This ends now. Dad. Accept me, or lose everything. Reginald stormed out. But days later, a truce, he'd step back. grudgingly acknowledging Ethan's happiness. As spring bloomed in New York, our lives stabilized. We adopted a rescue dog, symbolic of new beginnings, and planned a quiet getaway to the Adirondacks. One evening, watching the sunset from our rooftop, Ethan knelt. "Alex, will you marry me? Not for show, but for us." Tears blurred the Ringa's simple band etched with our initials. "Yes," I breathed, pulling him up for a kiss. Our engagement wasn't splashed across headlines. It was ours, intimate and real. But shadows lingered. A former employee, bitter from layoffs, leaked private email sentiment exchanges between us. Social media erupted. Hashtags trending, Blackwood scandal. We faced it head-on in a joint interview. "Love is love," Ethan declared. "We've hidden too long. No more." The backlash was fierce, but support poured in. Letters from LGBTQ youth, inspired by our story. "You gave me hope," one read. "In quiet moments, we'd reflect. We almost let fear win," Ethan said. "But we didn't," I replied. "And that's the victory." Our wedding approached. A small affair in the Hamptons, with Victoria as best woman and my sister attending. Reginald showed. Stiff but present a step toward healing. As vows exchanged under a canopy of stars, I realized our journey wasn't just romance. It was a testament to resilience, to embracing identity amid adversity. The ceremony was poetic simplicity, ocean waves crashing nearby, fairy lights twinkling as Ethan and I stood barefoot on the sand. "I promise to choose you every day," he vowed, voice thick with emotion. "Through storms and sunrises." "And I you," I echoed, sliding the ring on his finger. Guests cheered, friends, colleagues who'd stood by us, even a few reformed skeptics. Our honeymoon in Hawaii was bliss, lazy beaches, hikes through volcanoes, nights lost in each other. "This is forever," Ethan murmured, tracing patterns on my skin. Back in New York, reality beckoned. Apex thrived under Ethan's leadership, now infused with inclusivity initiatives. We launched a foundation for LGBTQ professionals, channeling our pain into purpose. But life tested us anew. Ethan faced health scarcity routine check, revealing high stress levels. "I need to slow down," he admitted. We adjusted, more delegation. Weekends unplugged. I took on more responsibilities, proving my worth beyond being the CEO's husband. Challenges arose in subtle ways. At a charity event, an old acquaintance cornered me. "How does it feel, being the trophy?" I smiled coolly. "It feels like partnership. Try it sometime." Ethan overheard, pulling me onto the dance floor. "Ignore them. You're my equal. Always." Our bond deepened, evolving from passion to profound companionship. We hosted dinners for at-risk youth, sharing our story. Coming out isn't easy, I'd say, but living authentically, worth every battle. One boy, tearful, confessed his fears. Ethan hugged him. "You're not alone." We weren't. And look at us now. Impact rippled, policies changed. Minds opened. Reginald, in a rare visit, admitted, "I was wrong. Happiness suits you." Years passed in a montage of milestones. Our first anniversary, a surprise trip to Paris, city of love. adopting twins, 2 boys from foster care, filling our home with laughter and chaos. Daddy Alex, tell us how you met Papa Ethan. They'd beg. With edited flair. I'd recount. I tried to quit, but he wouldn't let me go. Ethan would wink. Best decision I never made. Aging gracefully. We watched Apex evolve into a beacon of diversity. Retiring early. We traveled, advocated, lived. But the true meaning crystallized in quiet reflections. Our love wasn't just personal triumph. It was a ripple in the pond of progress, inspiring others to embrace their truths. In Ethan's arms, watching sunsets from our porch, I'd whisper, "We did it." He'd kiss my temple, and we'd do it again. The end wasn't an end, but a legacy, proof that love, defiant and true, could change worlds one heart at a time. Yet, as with any profound tale, loose ends tied meaningfully, Victoria found her own love. A kind artist. She thanked us at her wedding. My family fully reconciled. Holidays now joyous. Even in adversity's echoes occasional hate, male we stood firm. Our union a shield. Ultimately, our story whispered a universal truth in America's melting pot, where dreams clash with realities. Authenticity prevails. Love, in all forms, is the greatest human right. As we aged, hand in hand, the office where it began became a museum of memories, a photo on the wall. Our first kiss immortalized in private lore. I tried resigning. I'd tease. And I didn't let you leave alone. He'd reply. Together. Forever.